we're going to get started here on how to make a pattern for a set of bass strings. If for some reason that you cannot remove the bass strings and send them to us, and it's necessary for you to make a paper pattern, we're going to show you a good, correct way of making one. I have already cut us some paper. On this particular plate that we have out here, you can see that we have some wound strings in the tenor section. So what I'm going to do is slide a piece of paper right under the bass section and that frame on that piano, and I'm going to make sure it goes up above these bridge pins here. And I'm going to leave it laying there for just a second. Now notice down here, the paper comes down to where the tuning pins are, but the important thing that I need on this bridge is where this capo bar is here, because that's where the termination point is on these few strings that's in this tenor section. So we're going to leave that there. Also have a piece of paper to go over our bass bridge, and we're going to slide it up here and put it on this particular piano. Turn this over. Correct. Okay. I pre-cut these to make this a little bit quicker for us. And you can see now I have it laying good and flat here. I have it good and flat here. Now if this plate was in a piano, of course we'd have a damper rod here. And I have a lot of people send me patterns where it's taken over the damper rod, and what that does is puts a bow in the paper, and when I get it, I straighten it out, and it makes the length of the strings incorrect. Another mistake that I see sometimes are people going over frame of the plate, and this paper always needs to be right on the strings itself. So we're going to take some masking tape now, and we're going to tape this paper down so it's not moving while we are making this pattern. And you can see nothing going to bother that right there. We'll tape this in down in a couple of places to make sure it doesn't move. And then I'll tape the bass bridge while I'm on this side of the plate. So it's stationary. And we have that in position. And we'll go down at the other end and repeat that same process. We'll pull this over. Now it's important that we get this paper all the way to the very first bridge pin that we see at the termination side, or plate pin rather, on the termination side. So we'll tape that down right there, and we're going to tape it down over here. And now we're going to tape our tenor paper down. We have that all taped down. Nice, good flat portion. Now I'll set my tape to the side. Now I picked up just a regular piece of sandpaper. You want to get something pretty fine. We're going to start right up here at the hitch pins. Now I see a lot of people that make patterns and they'll rub across these hitch pins hoping to get the impression through the paper, or even try to push them up through the paper, and they make tears in the paper and it doesn't give you a true line. But that's why I got the sandpaper. I wanted to just show everybody, if you take a piece of sandpaper and you just rub right over top of those hitch pins, you'll cut the paper away, exposing those hitch pins on that piece of paper. And we'll talk a little bit more about making sure we expose them all here in just a few minutes. But now, I have now got where I can see a defined hole at every one of those spots. Now I need to find the bridge on this piano as well. Now we have two sets of bridge pins. It's okay if I get both of them, but I must have the speaking bridge pin, which is the row in the speaking section. But I'm going to go ahead and sand this to where I get both rows of bridge pins. See how quickly you can actually make all those come through? Now I can see them all real well in my pattern now. Now I'm gonna go down here to where the plate pins are for the termination. And I'm gonna repeat this again. That's, okay, I was hitting my tuning pins. Let's get to where I'm finding my, there they are. All right, now I've got my plate pins coming through. Now, I've got all those shining through. Now, a lot of people think it's necessary to show me the tuning pins on the plate, but it's really not, because I'm gonna leave extra length of wire because I can't cut these exact to fit those tuning pins. I always have the people trim them to fit their tuning pins themselves, and each maker has a different length there. Now, we're gonna get a copy of this same thing on the tenor bridge. I first have to get my bridge pins, or my hitch pins here, and then I've got to fill up there and find the bridge. And I'm gonna sand it away as well. And I'm exposing all those holes at this time. Now, I know that I went a little bit farther than I needed to, because I'm starting to see the treble bridge pins there, but that's okay, because we're going to number those here in a minute. Now, this capo part can be a little bit tricky if you have, most of these are in upright pianos. They could be A-graphs down here, or they could be anything. A lot of people just mark a line on there, and that's really a little bit difficult for me to know where the strings go on that line when it's a capo. See, now I've cut that away right there, and I've still got my paper intact, but in that situation, if you can feel the end of those windings and could mark those with that piece of sandpaper as well, it would really help us a little bit there. Now, I know if I'm to that line, I'm okay, but I need to know at what angle those strings come down to that line, so I put them in the right place, because if I draw my scale and start that first string here, I'm off a little bit, as you can see, could happen very easily. And so now we have our pattern. Now I want to pull the tape off of our plate here and show our pattern, and we're going to make sure that we've done a good job on this pattern. Pull those pieces of tape off. We'll get it all ready to come up. Now then, I have my complete pattern made. Now, it's important for me to do this at this step so I know that I've done my job correctly. I'm going to count these holes. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Now, to make sure that I've done that correctly, let's count and see if that's how many we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we go 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, 31, 33, 35, 37, 39, 41. So we have the same amount. It's important to do the same thing on this line. To save a little bit of time, I'm not going to do that, but you would count these bridge pins all the way across there. There should be 41 of these, just like there are 41 right here in this line. And then you want to come down to the other end of the pattern, and you want to count these again to make sure you have 41 punches here, because if I'm off a hole on either end of this pattern, then the set of strings that I make are going to be off one spot all the way through, and it's going to create a nightmare for you to install the bass strings, and they're not going to be correct. Now let's look at that tenor pattern that we made as well. Now I told you I sanded a little bit too far on that tenor pattern. So what I want to do is count how many wound strings there are on that tenor bridge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I know that I would number this myself, but starting here, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I would mark this off at that point, so I as a string maker know that that's the end of the strings. I'd also count the bridge pins, and you can see where we come from the bichord strings into the trichords. It's in the treble, but if you don't cross this one out, there are some pianos that have 3 strings per note, so I don't really know for sure. And as I told you on that end there, I do have the line, but I also have the strings that I can see here, so I know what position I need to get the correct length. So now we have a complete pattern. Some of the information that I need to enclose on this pattern is, first I need to know it was a Kohler and Campbell for this. This is a particular plate that I have. So I'll write down here Kohler and Campbell. I'd also find a serial number on the plate. Maybe this is it here, but sometimes that really helps if I have a serial number, and I'll put that on there. And then I want you to please include and put a note on there that it has 15 single strings, as this piano does, and then how many bichord strings it has on that bridge. That way, in case you miscounted or I miscount, I know how many's supposed to be there, and we can double check each other. And do the same thing on this one. Tell me how many strings were on that pattern, and then all you have to do is fold this pattern up after you've put that information on there. Maybe you put your name and your address and your phone number and all that information on that pattern as well. And you fold this pattern up, and you can get you a big envelope, and you can stick that pattern in the envelope and send it to me. It's always a good thing if you can take the first string of each section off and send with this paper pattern, because while I have all the lengths that I need here, I don't necessarily have the diameters of what each string is. Now, I can scale it myself, but sometimes I might not do as good a job as you might want me to. So if you want to get back what's on the piano, just simply take that number 1 string off, take that last monochord off, take that first bichord string off, and that last bichord string off, come over onto your tenor bridge, take that first tenor string off, and then take that last tenor string off, and the last one is the one next to the plain treble wire on that bridge. And you could put a piece of masking tape on each one of those strings and say, that's string number 1, that's string number 15, that's string number 16, that's string 41, that's string 42, and that is string 53. And that way I'll have all the information I need to be able to make you a set of strings to be able to put back on this piano. Now, I know you're thinking while you're watching this video, well, he made that look easy where he had that plate out of that piano, and I know that's not always the case with you, but I urge you to please try to go under those dampers or remove that damper rod if at all possible, because if it's there, it throws the length of the pattern off. And if there's anything I can do to make this process easier, please let me know. But now we would have all this, put it in a package, send it to us, and in a few days we'd be able to send you back a set of strings, and we're both happy